So once again, you're locked into the sounds of Paleblu on Reprezent Radio. Joining me in the studio now, my first face-to-face interview since 2020. He's a guy that doesn't need any introduction. Last time I had him on the show, he said, and I quote, "I'll play anywhere. I'll even play in your bathroom."
Did I say that?
It's man like Bailey. How's it going, Bailey?
Yeah, good, thanks. Did I really say that?
Yeah. Do you know, we was talking about when you first got invited to go and play at the Blue Note sessions or the Metalhead sessions, I think. Yeah. And that was your way of describing how excited you were about it. You were like...
Yeah, I think it's because, I think my thing is that I love the music so much that it's like, an opportunity is an opportunity.
I mean, what you're trying to say is that you've got CDJs set up in your bathroom, right?
Well, not yet. Actually, they're very close, to be truthful about it. Yeah, they're very close to the bathroom.
It's good to have you back. You came here back in 2019. I was a lot younger then. And I'm looking forward to having a chat with you now. A lot's happened since then as well. I don't want to talk about COVID too much, but,
Well, I mean,
we kind of have to, don't we?
It has changed the entire way that clubbers absorb music now.
Yeah.
It's changed the way of thinking as well. Safety measures in place, so in case something like that happens again.
Yeah.
But it's probably been very good for the young people who aren't old enough to go to clubs. All of a sudden, all these DJs are online. Imagine what it's like for them. It's a sport for choice. It's been really good. Some people have really got it on point, doing online videos and stuff like that. There's Versus in America, which is run by these Swizz Beatz and someone else, and they get mega stars on to clash together on video. I mean, those are the entertaining ones. Depends on budget, of course, but I don't think those things would have happened if it wasn't for the pandemic. It's made people think differently, and now other things have come out of it. So there's good and there's pluses and minuses. Yeah,
I mean, you've got to respect the hustle, and people are, I guess, adapting in a way. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on it? Do you enjoy the kind of online domain, or do you prefer the live shows?
You know what? I stayed away from doing all that stuff because I didn't want to. Right, everyone else was doing it, so I'm going to do it. I was like, no, let me just not do that. And I just continued to just like. I did a subscription thing on my Mixcloud page and did mixes once a month for people, special themed mixes, not just like, it's the latest tracks. It was like they all had themes going to certain years and certain styles within genres and blending of artists and things that hadn't been done before, unreleased tracks, etc., etc. So I just plowed myself into that, really.
Yeah. Talking about DJing and kind of online platforms and on the airways and stuff, you're no stranger to that. You were on One Extra for a very long time. You were one of the first, or if not the first, BBC drum and bass DJ. Am I correct in thinking?
Well, no. I mean, you had Fabio and Groove Rider who were on radio. Actually, before Fabio and Groove Rider, there was other people as well.
Yeah.
You had One in the Jungle,
first
of all, and it was just sounding like Pirate on the BBC, basically on Radio 1. And it was a mixture of like all the Cool FM boys, Brocky, Det, Ron was on there, Rap was on there, all kinds of people. And then later on, when they decided to do just, one or two people, I think they were going for Goldie for a bit on Radio 1. And then Fabio and Groove came in and they were there for something like 18 years. But I was at One Extra from the very beginning and ended up being there for 10 years in the end.
Yeah.
Which is great because I was on Wikipedia for 4 years.
Yeah.
So I must have been doing something all right.
Yeah. I mean, it's always interesting to speak to people like you that have been in the scene for so long, because there's not like loads of information online or tons of information online about the drum and bass scene, and it becomes this kind of word of mouth type thing. And I think I've learned the most in my kind of 5 or 6 years of broadcasting here, just talking to people about it, and just like, I didn't know about the tune Pulp Fiction until about like 4 years ago, which is exactly but I was born in the mid 90s and stuff, so I missed the peak of it, the era and stuff, I guess. So
I think that's quite exciting because like when I was because I was a hip hop DJ originally, and we wanted the original samples from the hip hop tracks. So we go and find, if they were good enough, we'd find the funk tracks themselves or whatever sample, the soul tracks. Yeah. And it's nice to be able to dig back into history and go, wow, now I've got all this stuff I can listen to. I guess, it must be the same thing for you now. It's like Pulp Fiction's 1995. For me, it was like, well, that's when I started playing at the Blue Note, right? For metalheads and all that. And it's like, I think that would be quite a nice feeling to be able to just land in the middle and go, well, I can keep going forward, but I've got still got loads of stuff to, that I can learn about and access. I wish I had that. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had that. That would be cool.
But it's amazing to see how far the genres, got to. I don't know. Did you manage to get to Fabio and Groove's Outlook Orchestra?
Oh, yeah.
Did you get it?
There was no way I was missing that.
Yeah. How was it?
Oh man, I was just like, I felt a whole lot of pride, because it was about Fab and Groove, but it was at the same time bigger than them as well. It was about, this is what drum and bass can do. This is what we do now. This is how far we've come. We're still here, and now here we are with an orchestra. Like the two dons. Are at the controls, and this is us. Anyone that turns up and like, what's this music there? Well, you have to respect it. Here we are in this, this amazing setting, and we have an orchestra. So it's like, it felt really official. It felt like, for once, drum and bass has been truly as respected as it should be.
Yeah, was that on the South Bank?
Yeah, it was Royal
Festival Hall. Yeah, that's royal in the
amazing.
title.
And it wasn't until the day after. Everyone had video clips to post and stuff like that.
I saw. Yeah,
just like, what? He was there. It's like literally anyone was there. People you haven't seen for years. Even Alex Reese, who I've never even met. Well, I still ain't met him actually. He was there. There's all kinds of people that don't even bother really come out anymore that were there. It was really, really, really special.
I wish I was there, but I didn't make it down, unfortunately. As I was saying, it's good to see where drum and bass was then and now. And we've spoken a little bit about the then. Let's talk about now for you, Soul in Motion. So I believe the club night you started back in 2014, right? And that was in London.
Yes, it was. It was at a 5-star hotel called the Edition Hotel.
Yeah.
And they had a club room downstairs, which is supposed to be for members only, but we managed to get ourselves in there and do a club night. Amazing venue. Amazing venue. The sound system was just ridiculous, and it was what they called a floating room. So, all sides, it was just like fully isolated and soundproofed, and all floors, so we could turn up quite loud and not disturb the hotel guests. So yeah, that was a really special start to it all, really. Yeah,
and then as you kind of progressed, because you've done over 200 events now, which is it's pretty insane.
Oh, really? I haven't been counting.
I counted on the website earlier. I didn't get the exact number, but I did a little bit of maths based on the icons and stuff, which is insane for 8 years. That's incredible. And following that, you had your home at Miranda. There was the Hoxton as well?
There was like another hotel.
Yeah.
No, we did Colours in Hoxton Square. Yeah. That's what you're might be
thinking. What was the basement? There was a basement hotel as well.
So
Miranda and then somewhere else.
Yeah, there was Curtain Hotel.
Curtain, that's it.
Curtain Hotel, yeah.
I mean, that was a wicked venue as well.
Yeah, that was lovely too. It's just nice to be in a setting like that and take drum and bass to somewhere not used to going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could, of course, go for the usual venues that everyone uses, but we just wanted to be like, let's see how far we can push this and do something different now,
Yeah, and I mean, from attending your nights, you've got a very interesting demographic. It's a mix of people. I'd say it's mainly young people. So you've kind of influenced a whole new generation of people that consume and enjoy drum and bass, which is great to see that the genre is still thriving and, the music is still connecting. And following that, you've gone outside of the London with it as well, haven't you? You've gone to was it Berlin?
Yes, we did Berlin.
Yeah.
We did the Rotund, and that is in Bochum, a place called Bochum.
Yeah.
We did that.
How was it going international with your own brand and seeing it translate beyond the UK and London?
Well, because it's me and Nick from Ramirez that run it.
Yeah.
And Michelle as well. And because we're so used to traveling, it's where you're kind of used to being elsewhere and DJing, like globally. But I think the main difference was that it's our event now. So it's like, you're just a bit more nervy because you're like, oh my gosh, we're abroad now. Who's going to come? It doesn't matter. Even if you've got a blazing lineup, every single night you go to your event, you'll be like, oh my gosh, is everyone going to turn up? You just don't know. So there's always that feeling. But apart from that, it was felt quite straightforward. He says there's a lot of organisation behind the scenes, of course. But yeah, it's just a nice feeling, really, generally. You know? Yeah.
That's good to hear. And following that, you know, you started the label in 2017 as well. Was that kind of something you'd always wanted to do with the brand, or, you know, as a DJ as well, had you always wanted to do that?
Yeah, I think we are really about you see, the thing with Soul in Motion, the reason it started in the first place is because there was only weekend parties on, and it was always roughly the same kind of thing going. It was always a DJ led thing or a label led thing, and it was always just a certain amount of sounds, and there was a lot that was being missed. So we decided to give it a go and fill that void. It's the same with the record label. There's a lot of sounds that aren't being heard, and it's the chance to put out stuff that is you're not particularly used to. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just listen to go, oh yeah, and then the tune's dead. We want stuff that lasts for a long time. Like, you might go back to catalog and go, oh, you know what? That sounds all right now. This is what we want. You know what I mean? So we're very, very careful about the tracks that we choose, because we just it's kind of based on that, really, like the maturity of it, not just in the moment, not just now. It's about how long is this going to last? You know, when can you come back to it and enjoy it again, like 10 years from now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And kind of listening to your back catalogue in full today, and, you know, also the bootlegs you've put out are very niche, and, you know, they're classic tunes, but you've translated them in such a way that they just like go off, and they're just very kind of unique. This is, you know, talking about bootlegs. What are your kind of thoughts on bootlegs? Because a lot of people are on one side, a lot of people on the other side. I'd love to hear your opinion on it, to be honest.
Well, I mean, for me, okay, so the bootleg that came out was something that I did, which is another kind of, I guess, a positive spin on COVID. I just decided that I've got all this time, why don't I make some tunes? And at that time, I felt like there was a lot of things that I just couldn't get. There's a lot of sounds I couldn't get. So I was like, I'm just going to make this myself. Yeah. So during maybe a couple of months period time, I made about 25 to 30 tracks. All bootlegs. Yeah, all bootlegs. And it was all very R&B and soul based, you know what I mean? Because of that, I like neo soul, you know, neo soul and like lo-fi hip hop and stuff. And I listened to that stuff at home when I'm not listening to drum and bass. And I was like, but I want to play this out. So then I started bootlegging, translating, stripping down tracks, rebuilding them and stuff like that. So for that purpose, I guess it's kind of fine to do that. I mean, it was like, well, also let me just have some stuff that people ain't got, you know what I mean? So for that purpose, fine. But if you're bootlegging and releasing them, it becomes a bit sticky. Yeah, for sure. It gets a bit sticky in that area. But other than that, I mean, it's also for people to understand, it's good practice for a producer. When you start stripping other people's tracks down, you understand how they've built it and how they move from one section to another. Yeah. It gives you great understanding, you know. So it has, I guess, pluses and minuses, but for me, I'm just like, well, you know, as long as you stay out of trouble, it's fine, I guess, you know what I mean? That makes complete sense, to be fair. And, you know, I know there's been some disputes and trouble from... What's the disputes then? What is it? What are people saying? What's the problem? No, not about your bootlegs. Oh, I know, but I just mean generally, yeah. Just, you know, there's some people, there's been, I know of one particular a bootleg, quite a well-known one, I'll tell you after, and it was bootlegged by a pair of producers, which are great, and then... You know, I think it got someone was a little bit salty about it and stuff like that. But I think it's got that kind of like DIY kind of hip hop punk kind of attitude, bootlegging. That's how I feel about it personally. But, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it's not original enough, etc. And it's a bit of an odd mentality to have, because, you know, what is creativity anyway? Like, how do you be fully original? Like, you draw influences from your surroundings and your environments. I was just about to say, everybody, when they first start out, emulates something else. Yeah. I can tell you about 4 or 5 MCs that have emulated GQ, but later on found their own style. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. When John B started, he was taking big chunks out of whatever tracks, and then later on he got his own style. Alex Perez was doing like soul bootlegs and stuff. He found his own style later. That's how it works. That's how it goes. Yeah. It's part of the development. Yeah.
we've got a couple more minutes left. What can we expect to see from Soul Emotion this year?
We'll definitely expect more releases.
Yeah.
You know, we're working hard on getting the right releases for the label.
Yeah.
Do you know we've got an agency as well?
Yeah. Oh, do you want to talk about the agency?
Well, we've got a DJ agency as well.
Yeah.
Soul
You're becoming
Emotion
the whole 360 bizzle right here, man.
Yeah.
Right.
We've got that going too.
Yeah.
The club nights are going to evolve as venues evolve and people's tastes evolve, and whatever the right situation or sound system or plus other things is right for us.
Yeah.
So it's just more to look forward to. I mean, the next one's going to be 25th of February in Brighton at the Volks.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to
that. I love that place.
That's going to be amazing. There's also, we're going to reveal a venue for a new residency coming up on a Wednesday. So there's that.
I know which venue it is.
I know
it's a biggie. So yeah,
I did post it on the website tonight, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything yet. Yeah. So we'll just let it be announced officially through the official channels.
Yeah, I mean, in terms going back to kind of the label, what artists have you got? Anything you can talk about? Schedule wise.
Talk about that. Next question.
Well, I mean, that was my last question.
It's going to be good though. I mean, it's the thing is, there's ongoing negotiations with artists, and sometimes it's like, tracks don't come around as quick as you'd hope they would. So, I don't want to announce something now, then the release gets pushed back. So it's one of them ones.
It makes sense. Bailey, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you down here again.
Thank you for having me again, and it's nice to be your very first. Again, this time around in person.
Yeah, since like 2020. It's been a little bit nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie. Talking to people face to face. Like, I've just been doing it over Zoom and in the comfort of my bedroom.
Yeah. Well, even tonight I was like, is that okay to hug you? Is it all right?
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to go straight into a guest mix from Bailey now. This is Paleblu on Reprezent Radio at 107.3 FM. Big ups, man.